beautiful woman possesses a strange ability. She can see eerie red lines growing above people's heads. As long as you have had physical relations with someone, a red line appears above that person's head. These red lines are also called S lines. The S stands for the first letters of 3 English words: social, sex, and secret. As physical relationships increase, the number of S lines grows accordingly. For Shin Hyun-hup, this ability is not a gift, but a curse. As a child, Shin Hyun-hup drew a picture. The picture showed her father connected not only to the red line on his wife's head, but also linked to her aunt with another red line. Her mother realized the secret hidden by the red lines. She ultimately killed her unfaithful husband with a knife. Since then, Shin Hyun-hup has frequent nightmares. She dreams of her mother covered in blood. To escape the fate of seeing the red lines, Shin Hyun-hup once considered death. But no matter what method she tried, she always miraculously survived. Completely helpless, Shin Hyun-hup had to give up the idea of suicide. To avoid seeing the terrifying red lines again, Shin Hyun-hup stays indoors every day and avoids social contact. She seals the windows with carton boards. She always wears sunglasses and stays curled up at home. Until this day. That day, a woman was found dead in her home. Detective Han Ji-wook arrived at the scene to investigate. According to testimony from a downstairs neighbor, a man wearing a safety helmet entered the woman's apartment late last night. Han Ji-wook planned to start his investigation with this man. Shin Hyun-hup saw the news report about the case. She noticed in the footage a helmeted man entering the apartment building where the crime occurred. What caught Shin Hyun-hup's attention more was that the helmeted man had only one red line above his head. These days, having had a physical relationship with only one person is equally rare as having had relationships with 100 people. Shin Hyun-hup pointed her suspicion at the helmeted man. She walked to the window and saw he entered the apartment of the woman opposite hers. This woman often gives Shin Hyun-hup fruit. She is a warm and friendly neighbor. Shocked, Shin Hyun-hup quickly grabbed her phone to call the police. But she soon discovered the so-called helmeted man was just her female neighbor's boyfriend. The two were communicating deeply across the street. Shin Hyun-hup hurriedly hung up the emergency call. At the same time, she fell into another hallucination. She saw countless blood-red lines before her eyes. It felt like being trapped in a battlefield of lust. The next day, Han Ji-wook received a call from a colleague. He learned someone reported to the police last night. The caller coincidentally lived in his same apartment complex. The address was directly opposite his unit. Han Ji-wook immediately visited her. Through the peephole, Shin Hyun-hup saw hundreds of tangled red lines above the man's head outside. Though a detective, Han Ji-wook was a notorious player. He often fooled around with female colleagues but never pursued serious relationships. Shin Hyun-hup refused to open the door. A male neighbor upstairs happened to come down. He explained to Han Ji-wook that a notorious shut-in lived there. Han Ji-wook persisted and kept knocking. He hoped Shin Hyun-hup would provide testimony. Shin Hyun-hup slowly opened the door a crack. She explained she had made a mistake. The helmeted man last night was the female neighbor's normal boyfriend. Han Ji-wook gave up and left. However, that night through the peephole, Shin Hyun-hup saw another helmeted man. This man also had only one red line above his head. Apart from this recent case, 3 consecutive murders had occurred locally. A junior colleague discovered that the 2 most recent female victims had contacted a certain man. This man was a local high school teacher, Mr. Oh. He lived in the same complex as Han Ji-wook. Upon seeing a photo, Han Ji-wook instantly remembered Mr. Oh was the male neighbor who explained Shin Hyun-hup was a shut-in today. The junior colleague went to investigate the suspicious Mr. Oh. He found the man's front door unlocked. Upon entering, he was horrified to find the room filled with bizarre and inexplicable red. The junior colleague immediately contacted Han Ji-wook. But who knew Mr. Oh was hiding in the darkness and ambushed him? The junior colleague suffered severe injuries. Mr. Oh then put on a helmet and went to the opposite building. Shin Hyun-hup noticed the man's movements. She saw that the red line above Mr. Oh's head was connected to the woman neighbor who often gave her fruit. She realized the woman was in danger. Shin Hyun-hup took a knife from the kitchen and timidly stepped out of her home. However, the outside world was too alien and terrifying for Shin Hyun-hup. At that moment, Shin Hyun-hup had a panic attack and fainted on the spot. Mr. O arrived at the woman neighbor's home. The woman thought the visitor was her boyfriend. But when the man removed his helmet, she recognized him as her ex-boyfriend who had long since broken up with her. Mr. O looked at the woman neighbor's head. He saw about 10 red lines above it. Enraged, the man intended to kill the woman. Fortunately, Shin Hyun-hup appeared in time, holding the knife to threaten the man to stop. Mr. O boldly snatched the weapon and stabbed Shin Hyun-hup. At that moment, Han Ji-wook arrived at Shin Hyun-hup's home. From afar, he saw the horrific scene unfolding in the woman neighbor's apartment opposite. At the critical moment, he shot the man from a distance. Mr. O was shot and wounded. With his dying breath, he saw the red lines before him fading away. The man died, and the woman neighbor was rescued. But Shin Hyun-hup knew things were far from over. Earlier, Mr. O's muttering made Shin Hyun-hup realize the man could see the red lines too, just like her. Tonight's experience shook Shin Hyun-hup's heart. She began to realize her special ability might save others. Just then, Shin Hyun-hup received a mysterious text message. That person claimed they could also see the world Shin Hyun-hup sees. They told her to go to the local high school. There was a secret she wanted to uncover there. While Shin Hyun-hup was pondering, Han Ji-wook was still investigating the recent murders. He always felt Mr. O's motive for killing was not strong enough. Investigations found that before attacking, Mr. O kept muttering the word salvation. All signs made Han Ji-wook sense there might be more to Mr. O's killings. To uncover the truth, Han Ji-wook went to Mr. O's home. He saw that room filled with red. Turning on a flashlight and looking closely, he found the blood-like red on the wall was countless tangled and messy red lines. Back at the police station, Han Ji-wook examined photos of Mr. O. He noticed Mr. O wore glasses in the photos. However, after the incident, the glasses that should have been in the evidence box had vanished. Han Ji-wook went to the high school where Mr. O previously worked. He inquired with homeroom teacher Lee Ji-woo-jin. He wanted to know if Mr. O habitually wore glasses before. Lee Ji-woo-jin, a famously beautiful and easygoing teacher at the school, cared deeply for her students. She stated she had never seen Mr. O wear glasses. After questioning, Han Ji-wook's gaze drifted to the female teacher's chest. He noticed one button on her shirt was undone. Lee Ji-woo-jin, carefree and unwary, buttoned it up right in front of Han Ji-wook. Only then did Han Ji-wook avert his desirous eyes. Later that evening, Han Ji-wook visited the bar Mr. O frequented. The bartender revealed that Mr. O had been acting strangely recently. Every time he drank, he would point at customers' heads and say different numbers. The bartender remembered clearly that Mr. O always wore glasses when counting. Han Ji-wook noted down each suspicious point. Before leaving, he flirted with a girl for fun. After a whole night of contemplation, Shin Hyun-hup decided to leave home to uncover the truth. Having made up her mind, Shin Hyun-hup cleaned her house and tore off the cardboard covering the windows. She stepped into the outside world. She transferred to the local high school. At this high school, Shin Hyun-hup encountered an acquaintance, Kang Seona. The two had been middle school classmates. Within the school, Kang Seona was a target of bullying. She was often dragged to the rooftop by a group of female classmates and humiliated. Coincidentally, Kang Seona was Han Ji-wook's niece. They lived under the same roof, but their relationship was not close. Kang Seona had never confessed her school experiences to her uncle. That day at school, Kang Seona was mocked by classmates again. Homeroom teacher Lee Ji-woo-jin intervened to separate the fighting students. She publicly defended Kang Seona. After school that day, Kang Seona noticed a pair of glasses appeared in her locker out of nowhere. Curious, Kang Seona put them on. To her surprise, she saw a long red line growing above her own head. When her uncle Han Ji-wook came home from work, seeing hundreds of red lines above his head terrified Kang Seona. Even more, unable to understand any of this, Kang Seona ran out of the house. Outside, she saw almost everyone had varying numbers of red lines above their heads. The red lines intertwined and spread, forming a blazing world of desire. From that moment, Kang Seona suddenly understood the meaning of the red lines. Back at school, Kang Seona noticed many classmates had few or many red lines above their heads. This showed that although still minors, many boys and girls had already tasted the forbidden fruit. Among the countless students with red lines, Kang Seona focused her attention on Kim Hyun, the female classmate who bullied her most frequently. She discovered Kim Hyun had 2 red lines above her head. One of them connected to the Korean literature teacher, and the Korean literature teacher was also connected to another female student via a red line. Kang Seona couldn't help but lament how the world is deteriorating morally. Simultaneously, a plan formed in her mind. The next time Kim Hyun bullied her, Kang Seona stopped cowering. She declared that Kim Hyun should be the one feeling ashamed. Kim Hyun, confused by Kang Seon's words, continued to attack her physically. Just then, Shin Hyun-hup appeared and shouted at Kim Hyun to stop. Kim Hyun threatened to teach this transfer student a lesson. But Shin Hyun-hup fearlessly pretended she would drag Kim Hyun down with her by jumping off the building. Kim Hyun's face turned pale with fear. She promised never to touch Kang Seona again. However, Kang Seona was plotting revenge. She secretly took photos of Kim Hyun and the teacher meeting at a hotel. Kim Hyun received the photos but remained unafraid. She continued her secret affair with the teacher. Later, she replied to Kang Seona, stating only the teacher would be punished. As a minor, she would emerge unscathed. Kang Seona responded with a cold laugh. She planned to point the gun elsewhere. The next day, she sent the affair photos to the Korean literature teacher. She demanded he prepare 20 million won. She blackmailed the teacher because Kang Seona planned to run away from home. She believed her uncle didn't care about her. After learning from Kim Hyun that Kang Seona had sent the photos, the teacher panicked. He feared his affair with a student would be discovered by his family. Besides this teacher, Kang Seona also knew about affairs involving several other teachers at school. She sent each teacher their own affair photos. By holding leverage over teachers and students, Kang Seona completely shed her former victim image. She thrived among her classmates. Shin Hyun-hup noticed Kang Seona's change. She observed Kang Seona always wearing glasses lately. She suspected these glasses were the same ones Mr. Oh wore during the crimes. That day, Shin Hyun-hup confessed the secret of the red lines to Kang Seona. She worried that Kang Seona's continued use of the glasses could bring fatal danger. But Kang Seona acted as if she held a key to reverse her destiny. She refused to let go of the magical glasses no matter what. One evening, the Korean literature teacher messaged Kang Seona, saying the money was ready. He asked her to come collect it later. Before meeting the teacher, Kang Seona went shopping with her new boyfriend. Unbeknownst to her, Kim Hyun had been trailing her all along. It turned out that day, Kim Hyun had overheard every word of Kang Seona and Shin Hyun-hup's conversation. She had thus learned about the red lines. While tailing Kang Seona, she noticed the small bag containing the glasses fall to the ground unnoticed. Kim Hyun immediately snatched the bag secretly. After putting on the glasses, Kim Hyun saw the crimson world of desire everywhere. Kang Seona, frantic over losing the glasses, suspected Shin Hyun-hup had stolen them. Afterwards, Kang Seona pretended everything was fine and went to school to meet the Korean literature teacher. The teacher pitifully begged Kang Seona. He had a child, and his wife was about to give birth to their second. He couldn't afford to lose his job. Kang Seona felt no sympathy. The teacher had also stood by when Kim Hyun bullied her. While they argued, the teacher received a message from his wife. Somehow, his wife had discovered his secret affair with a student. The teacher furiously accused Kang Seona of sending the photos to his wife. Under the night sky, worried about Kang Seona, Shin Hyun-hup rushed to the school. But what she witnessed was Kang Seona plummeting from the rooftop. Kang Seona fell to her death. Shin Hyun-hup was at a loss. She began to realize these mysterious and bizarre red lines would lead everyone into an unknown abyss.